Hi everybody, welcome to Phil 375, Philosophy and Literature. I'm Carrie Jenkins, I'm the professor for this class, and the teaching team consists of myself and two TAs. The first of them is Jelena Markovic, and she would be your first point of contact if you need to email somebody with questions about the course, or if you want any individual help with assignments and things like that. The other TA is Kristen Conrad, and you will find her on the discussion forums where she'll be taking a role in moderating and contributing to those discussions. The other important creatures that I should introduce are the ones who share my bubble. I'm coming to you from my home in downtown Vancouver, so you may see at times or hear some creatures in the background. One is a Labradoodle mixed with a Golden Doodle, Mezzo, who in fact you might be able to see down in the, yes, there she is, hi Mezzo, in the corner of the screen here. There are also two Sphinx cats around. Those are the kind of cats that don't have any fur, so they look like weird alien goblins. So don't worry if you see something like that in the background, perfectly normal. This first introductory video is just to give you a bit of the administrative information about the course and to say hi, basically. And then the next video will have actual content and ideas for week one. The main things that I need to cover are Canvas and the syllabus and the general kind of timing of the course, how it's going to proceed. So let me start with Canvas. I've tried to streamline the Canvas page for this course as much as possible, trying to streamline everything as much as possible because the world is taking up all of the bandwidth it can already. And so I'm trying to minimize further distraction. So in Canvas, hopefully all you should be able to see is the landing page with the link to the syllabus and so on, and the discussion forums, and then the places where you will upload the assignments. In the discussion forums, a lot of the content of the course is actually going to take place in there. It's going to replace the kind of discussions and conversations that we would have had in the classroom if we'd been in a classroom. At the moment, you should be able to see just one thread, a welcome thread. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea if everybody went in and just posted a little comment that says hi, basically. Maybe just tell us one interesting fact about yourself, so that we see who you are, and all your fellow students can see who you are, and also just to make sure that everybody is able to access and use the commenting facility in those discussion forums. So that's Canvas. It should go live the same day as this video comes out, which is Monday the 11th. If anyone's having trouble accessing Canvas, please do drop us a line and we'll try to sort that out. Okay, and so let's also talk about the syllabus very quickly. Hopefully everybody who's registered for this class got an email from me with a link to the syllabus already. You'll also be able to access it from Canvas, and that version online will be always the most up-to-date version. So in the event that the inevitable event that there are still some typos and mistakes in there, if I have to change anything, the version that you'll find at that link from Canvas is always going to be the most up-to-date version. So it contains all of the usual kinds of administrative information, and lots of important stuff that you should familiarize yourself with. Important facts about the course. It's fully asynchronous, meaning there's no specific time that you have to be online. The course is organized into units that proceed one per week, and you have to do the work for the week during the week that it's assigned. And there are deadlines for the assessed parts later in the course, but there's no time during the week that you have to go online. So there's no live lectures or live discussion groups that you have to be online for. There also are no textbooks that you need to buy. I've tried wherever possible to link to the resources that we're going to be using, the texts for the course from the syllabus wherever possible. In a couple of cases, you would either need a subscription or you might need to purchase an ebook version of the text. So if you do have any trouble accessing any of those things, please let me know as soon as you anticipate a problem, and I'll do my best to get around it somehow. Okay, moving on to the assessment for the course. So participating in those threads in the discussion section of Canvas is going to be how you earn the participation part of the grade. There's more information in the syllabus about what that would look like, but the gist of it is you need to post at least something every week, just as the equivalent of showing up to a class or a discussion section. And beyond that, really it's about quality rather than quantity. So, and what I mean by that is that a short, concise post that raises a very interesting new point or gives an insightful answer to a question somebody else has raised is much more useful to everybody than, say, a long, rambling post that just expresses your opinion about the text rather than really engaging with it from an analytical and philosophical perspective. So that's the participation grade. Then there are the essay part and the creative writing part. So it is a lot of the motivating goal of this course is to make the analysis and the creative writing work in tandem. So what I mean by that is that what I'm hoping you might be able to get from this is using the essays to assess the set texts for strengths and weaknesses that you might then want to emulate or avoid in your own writing. So the essays come first because in that sense you're going to use them to build towards your own written pieces. They're due on the 5th of March. You can either write one longer essay or two shorter essays, and they're worth 50% of the grade in total. So if you do one, it's worth 50. If you do two, each of them is worth 25. And then the philosophical writing, the creative writing, that comes in two parts. So first the draft and then the final version, each of which is worth 20%. So the idea is you submit the draft, which the deadline is the 31st of March, and then you get feedback from both instructors and the other students in the class. So we'll do probably small group assignments for that peer feedback. And then you use that feedback to work up a final version that you submit on the last day of term, which is the 14th of April. And that's worth 20% as well. So it should be 50 for the essays, 20 for the draft, 20 for the final version of your writing, and 10 is participation. And hopefully that makes 100. I don't take anything for granted in my head these days. Who knows? On paper, it sounded right. For each week, the way that it's broken down is that there are some texts, which might be a short story, might be a philosophical poem. In some cases, it's a philosophical TV show or someone discussing their philosophical writing in an interview. All of these are things that we're going to be watching or consuming with an analytical mindset, meaning we're trying to draw ideas out of them that we can then either critique or extend ourselves. So that's I'm going to say a lot more about how to do that as we go, or some of the ways that we might do that as we go. That will frame, the assignment of set texts will frame the week, and what I'm going to do is upload a video a bit like this one, only hopefully more interesting, on Monday that you can then download, and I'm going to be trying to kick off some of the discussions and just introducing the text for the week in that video. Then there will be 3 threads open on Canvas about different aspects of the text. And that is where you'll go in and make those contributions and see what other people are saying about the text for the week, and hopefully engage each other in some dialogue there. Those threads will stay open all through the week, and I'll be following along, and Kristen will be following along and contributing as well. And then on Friday, at the end of the week, I'm going to make a little audio wrap-up discussion, a discussion of the discussions, where I'll try to draw out some of the main themes that people were interested in, and maybe if there were any particularly outstanding questions or comments that people had, I can call attention to them so that just to make sure everybody saw them. That will be in the Friday wrap-up. Hey, Mezzo, could you maybe just give that a rest for a second? Yeah? Good girl. Thank you very much. Okay, the course policies are mostly, you just need to give them a quick read on the syllabus, basically. The grading rubric, I've put a little bit of information in the syllabus about how your work is assessed, and also what to do if you can't do the work on time, which in the current circumstances, I totally understand. It's fine, it's normal. Just let me know. We can deal. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this little video is the schedule, the overall schedule for the term, as opposed to just the little weekly schedules. So it's basically broken down into a long first half and a short second half. And the long first half is where we'll be reading different kinds of texts or analysing different kinds of texts and discussing them and writing essays at the end of that section. And then the shorter second half is for taking those thoughts, ideas, skills into our own into our own creative writing. So the texts that we'll be reading in the first half, I want to make sure to make this very clear, there are 2 novels in there. So be aware, there's going to be some long pieces that you'll need to read. And if you want to get a head start on that now, it's never too early if you have a chance. So when we start out, our readings will mostly be shorter things, but you want to know that those are coming. So there's a Sartre novel and there's an Iris Murdoch novel right before and after the midterm break. And I put them there deliberately to try to give people a bit more wiggle room with the schedules, but you do want to be aware of those being there, so you can get started on that reading as soon as you can. And then in the short second half, so starting basically from the 8th of March, we won't be reading further texts, but we will move into thinking about honing our writing craft based on what we've learned, hopefully from the first half, or what we've been thinking about in the first half. What else did I want to say about this? One of the things that I really am hoping that we can do together is thinking about these different pieces of philosophical writing in a way that enables us not only to think about how we could become better philosophical writers or just philosophical writers at all, but also what to make of the connection between philosophy and literature, because it's been fraught across, honestly, the entirety of the history of the Western philosophical tradition, at least, which is the one that I know about. Plato had things to say about what should be done to poets in his ideal society. We're actually going to kick off the course by listening to Iris Murdoch and an interview that she gave in 1978, I think 78, on an absolutely glorious British TV show, BBC show, and where she's talking, it's called Men of Ideas, and she's talking about her life experience of being both a professional academic philosopher and a very famous novelist, and what she thinks about the connection between philosophy and literature, which is absolutely fascinating because she's pretty much uniquely positioned to talk about that in the contemporary realm, it's quite rare for anyone to be whatever, renowned, is that a good word to use? A well-known, well-respected academic philosopher and renowned, well-known, well-respected novelist as well. And so her thoughts on the relationship are fascinating. I will say as a brief spoiler that I pretty much completely disagree with them, but that's getting into some of the substantive content for the week one discussion. So I'll leave that for now. But part of the point of putting her up front and then working our way towards one of her novels later in the course is that I think in a lot of ways we can frame the first half, at least, of this course as kind of a discussion, a conversation with Murdoch, and particularly what she says in that interview about the relationships between philosophy and literature, and being a philosopher or being a writer. And so these are things that I'm completely fascinated by intrinsically and in their own right. And I'm struggling with what to think about them myself. So I'm hoping that we get to explore some of this very, very rich and intellectually fertile intersection between the analytic, the philosophical, the creative, and the artistic together as we go through this course. I'm super excited about it. I've never taught a class like this before. I've never taught a class remotely and asynchronously before either. So it's all new, and I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to see what you'll have to say about these texts. So I'm going to end that here. I'll just say if you have any further questions about administrative matters relating to the course, or if you have any worries or concerns at this stage, please let one of us know. Jelena is the first point of email contact, and her email address is in the syllabus. I'll be available Wednesday and Friday afternoons in my office hours, and I will see you very soon for the week one video.